Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a good Tuesday so far. Today, here it is raining, kind of a drizzly sort of rain this morning. So I walked inside, but I did walk, so I'm feeling good and I am ready to share today's card with you. And as many of you know, today is Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. Now today, admittedly, my design is a little simple, but the base of this card is kind of simple too. So, but I love the way it came out. Sometimes simple cards are the best. All right, I'm going to show you what today's card is. See right here, move my head out of the way. This is today's card, and the original size was a note card size, so you can do it as a note card size. A note card size is 3.5 by 5 inches. When Yolanda did up the sketches, she kind of made it a little larger for us so that we could do it as a full-size card, which is really what I prefer. But this card actually, on its base, is very easy to create because you have a layer in the back. You can stamp it, you can use designer series paper, and then you have the focal point is really the greeting, and then you build everything else around it. Now I changed that up a little bit. You can use a greeting for the focal point, or you can use an image for the focal point, and it just depends on how you want your card to be laid out. Let's take a look at the sketch. So when Yolanda does the sketches, if it is a 3.5 by 5 inch note card, then she puts a piece of grid paper behind there to kind of share what the 4.25 by 5.5 version will be. I have the measurements for the card that I built in my blog post, so if you want those measurements, I'll mention them as I go along, but this is a fairly easy card to figure out. There's not a whole lot of complicated stuff to it, so it's a great beginner card, and for those people that are avid, you can really spruce it up and make something really nice with it. Okay, so I hope the idea is with Casing Tuesday is that I post my card over on the Facebook group, and then you post your card over on the Facebook group, and you can do the card as it appears originally, or you can do it with whatever stamp set, dies, punches, whatever you want. So at the end of the week, that post that I posted in the last hour will have a ton of different samples on it using that same layout. And I think that's really the unique part of Casing Tuesday, is that we have a familiar starting point, but everyone's card turns out differently. So I love that about Casing Tuesday, and that's why I have been doing it for so many years. All right, let me show you my card for today. And I used the You Are Remarkable stamp set. I used the stamp set a few weeks ago. And I know we use a lot of flower stamp sets, and some of them speak to me more than others. This is a two-step stamp. So it has an outline stamp, and then it has stamps that will color in your flower for you, so you don't have to do any coloring, and it's got shading in it and everything. And this is one of the first techniques that I fell in love with, or the first things about stamps that I fell in love with, because at that point I still can't draw a flower, a complicated flower. One day I want to learn how to do that, but you know, for a lot of us, we never learned how to paint or draw, and so having these art stamps really is awesome. And when you are able to both stamp and color at the same time, it's even better, right? So what I did, there is a greeting. It says, "Friends are flowers in the garden of life." So I stamped that and I cut it into two different pieces. So I found that greeting is a little bit too large for this particular card, so I just cut it down, and then I used the ends the other half of it in the Garden of Life. And I think this just kind of makes a lot of sense. Friends are flowers, and here is the garden. So that just kind of made sense to me to cut that greeting apart, and it works really well. I'll show you how I put that together to make it easier for you. So I did use, on this card, I'm using one of my favorite papers. In fact, this is a full pack of that paper, and I have my partial pack over there. This is called the Floral Delight Designer Series paper. It is a lot of kind of yellow flower designs and also some coordinating patterns on the back of this paper. This one's been very popular. I think it was sold out, but now it's back in stock. It is not retiring, so we'll have it for a little while longer. And I love this for the spring going into summer, because it's just such a happy paper, and I've loved using it so far. And right now my forsythia is in bloom right outside my window, and there is, I'm just gonna grab my thing. Yes, there is a forsythia pattern right here. So there is the one of the forsythia patterns. So right now it's very timely, because I do have forsythia in bloom right outside my window. So that is kind of fun. As I look out at my forsythia, I realize that I really need to go outside and prune my forsythia. When we bought this house about 2 years ago, it was in the summer 2 years ago, it had a lot of mature plantings. And since we moved into this house, we have been nothing but busy. So that summer and last summer we did a little bit of pruning, but we really need to do a lot more, because we do have a rather large yard for two people that are of our age. Not that we're like super old or anything, but you know what I mean. It is a lot of yard work. We had a landscaper come by to give us a quote to do it, and at the time when we had just bought the house, we were kind of house poor, and he's like, "You bought a lot of land," and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, but I love our little land. I love a little piece of land. It makes me so happy to live out here in Sudbury, Massachusetts. It's just very pretty. It's lovely to walk. But yeah, we've got a lot of mature plantings, and no, we didn't end up hiring anyone. It was just too expensive for us. So we just decided we were going to take on our yard ourselves, and my husband does a good job of taking care of the lawn, and he's also done some pruning, but we have a lot more pruning to do. Anyway, that's a total aside. You came here for card making. Let's start. Oh, one more thing before we start. I should mention that I do have a host code going this month, and this host code, I'm going to close it out on Sunday because our reward system is changing. Let me pop up this host code. This is my host code for April. And after April 14th, host codes are going away completely, but I'm going to be closing this out on April 13th, probably in the evening. But no worries, my April gift is going to go all month long. So please use the host code if you're placing an order under $150 before Sunday. And if not, you will still get my gift later on. So this is a gift for every $50 you spend with me this month. I will be sending you a 6x6 pack of Retired Designer Series paper. It will have minimum 20 sheets in it. And then I will be sending you a partial roll of ribbon. I will make sure that that roll has at least some ribbon on it. It is going to not be a full roll of ribbon though, but it won't be just like a foot of ribbon. I'm not like that. I'm not going to give you just a little chintzy piece of ribbon. So, but you'll get some Designer Series paper, and you'll get a ribbon roll for every 50 you spend. And I think it's kind of fun. I've done just the Designer Series paper one or reward for a few years now, and everyone seems to love it because you get like a bunch of different designer series paper, maybe some patterns that you wouldn't have necessarily picked. But I think that's sometimes really kind of fun because maybe you didn't have a lot of masculine paper and now I send you a masculine paper, or this is paper that you can have fun playing with, and you get some ribbon to use as well. So I hope you enjoy this month's reward. And then on April 15th, they are going to shut down our Stampin' Up. I don't know if it's the Stampin' Up store that gets shut down for a few hours, but after that, we are switching to a new rewards program. And so going forward after that time, when you place an order of $20, only $20 or more, you are going to get 10% back from your order in rewards that you can use on a future order. You don't have to necessarily use it on your next order. It will be available for you on your next order. But if you want to, maybe you want to save up for something and get that something for free, then it kind of feels like more accomplished than taking a little bite out of a smaller order. So, you can use that. I believe the time, I have to double check, but I think the customer time to use your reward, like say you earned a reward in April, I think you have like a whole year to use that reward up. So you don't have to necessarily use it next month, but right now, the way the current program is going to be, those rewards expire a year after you have earned them. So it's a little different program, but it's going to reward more people. So my gift of the month after this month is going away because I used to use the host rewards to get those gifts. So going forward, I'm going to have free tutorials that you can earn every month, and I'll have different incentives going forward, but it's not going to be exactly the same as it was before. So we will learn about this new reward program going forward, but I love the fact that more people will be rewarded for smaller orders. But this month, for every 50 you spend using this host code, you will get a pack of designer series paper and ribbon from me. And I have more information over on my blog where I have spelled everything out in more detail. All right, enough. Let's make a card. Let us make it. All right. Okay. All right. Let's I think I mentioned the You Are Remarkable stamp set. I really love this one. I love it also because we don't often have greetings that are tall and skinny like this. So sometimes these will fit well on like some fancy fold cards that have like a narrow layer for writing on. So this one was actually, I decided to get the stamp set after seeing one of my team members, her name's Marianne, and she used it on the back of, what was that name of the card? It was a card, it was a fancy cool card that had a skinny little, skinny little thing, a bandstand. It was a bandstand pop-up card. It had a skinny little thing, and she used this greeting on the back, and I thought that is brilliant. I love it. I'm sold. And then, of course, I do love the two-step flowers, so that really helped as well. And then the nested essential dies, we've had these around for a while, but they are a really good set of dies for creating cards with. All right, we are going to start off with a Daffodil Delight card base, and I cut this base 11 inches by 4 1/4. Then I scored it in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. I'm going to grab my bone folder right here, and we'll just press that down so it stays flat for us. Then I cut a piece of designer series paper. This is so simple. I already had this cut to a 4 inch width, And I didn't want to have to cut a new piece. Ideally, this card, the piece goes all the way across the card front, and it has a little piece left over on the top and a little bit on the bottom. But here I had this 4-inch wide strip, and I was like, ugh, sometimes 4-inch wide is just so nice to cut because you can get more cards out of a 4-inch strip. So I just decided to do a 4x4-inch piece and alter the original card design and not have it go all the way to the edges. But if you wanted it to go all the way to the edge, then you'd cut 4¼ wide by 4 inches long, or you could do 4¼ by 4¼ just something so you have a piece of the cardstock peeking out on the top and the bottom. Let's grab some glue, and look at how pretty this piece is. So I just want to show you, I don't know if you can, if I use this flower on here, this flower would probably get lost on here. So even though this pattern is super pretty, if I were just doing a greeting in the center right here, like I could do this card like with a skinny greeting on the center, that would be really cute, right? But since I wanted to stamp the flower, I need a more neutral pattern because I do not want this paper, even though it's super pretty, to compete with my layer art that I'm going to stamp. So I'm putting glue on the beautiful floral design, and I'm just going to line this up. Oops. Let's get this centered. That's good enough. I think I left a little bit more on the top than I did the bottom, but it's straight, so it's good, right? All right, so we'll leave this aside for the moment, and we're going to bring in our mini cut and emboss machine. I love this machine, especially if you're new to stamping and you don't necessarily want to invest in a big machine yet, but you want to give die cutting a try. This little mini machine is good. It's also great for travel because it's light. Okay, it comes with all of these plates, which if I had fanned them out more prettily, they would look nicer. Let's do that. Okay, so we've got, there's 3 base plates and 2 clear plates. Normally you would use the number 1 plate. My machine is tight, so we're not using number 1. We're going to use number 3. And you can absolutely do this. And I think the number 4 plate, if you have a really, really tight machine, I haven't heard of that, but the light gray plate is perfect for a tighter machine like mine. I actually also have the boho blue machine, and my boho blue machine, I can use the white plate, no problem. So I do know that that is a thing. All right, I've got a little piece of my basic white, and I am going to use this rounded corner, the largest one with the stitch labels. I do want to mention something about basic white right now. Our basic white is not going away. We still have basic white. It just got repackaged into 24 sheets. And the price is going up because all paper products right now are getting more pricey. The mills are charging more for the paper. So our basic white got repackaged from 40 sheets down to 24 sheets, and the price is going up. And because there was such a run on the basic white, once everyone knew that there was a price increase and they were repackaging it, they just couldn't keep it in stock anymore. So they just decided, so that, because basic white is one of our staples, they have put it back in the store as basic white in the new format with the new price, so that people wouldn't like cause it to constantly sell out, so we would have it. So they had to do that just because it's a very, this is between thick basic white and basic white, those are probably the most popular colors. So if you can't find this under the old link, I do believe I have the correct new link under there, but if you can't find it under the old link where you used to find it before, it says not available, that's because it's reformulated and basic white has not gone away at all. Okay. All right, let's run this through. I'm cranking my handle over here, which is kind of on the side here. Okay, let's pop this out. Makes such a nice layer, and I love that stitching on the side. I think that's the entire thing that we're die cutting. So I'm just gonna pop this away. And we'll bring this in. You should get, like, if you're doing this design with me, grab a little piece of scrap paper. I use these pieces to kind of design cards on. So I have 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 pieces cut out so I can plan out cards, but I also use these as scrap pieces when stamping. So we're gonna grab our big flower stamp. It's on an E-block. Grab this, and we'll just ink up this. And this is a linen ink pad, so I can press down harder than I would with one of our colored ink pads, which is a foam pad. So I want to, when I do this, I just kind of want to center this flower, get as much of the flower on there as possible. Now I'm going to stamp that down, and see some of that ink is going to come off the edge and land on our scrap piece. Okay, we'll just keep this here for a second because we're going to also do the leaves. So I'm just going to pop this away. We'll do that inside in just a moment. We're going to do Granny Apple Green for the leaves. And this, you know, I find the best way really is to kind of to stand up and hover your head over top, and you just keep tilting the stamp until you feel like most things are lining up. I kind of feel like the most crucial part is the stem right up at the top. You'll notice, oh, I did a really good job this time. So this card originally, you can see I'm a teeny tiny bit off, but it's okay because it still looks good. Okay, let's put this ink pad aside. I'm going to need it in just a second to do the inside. We'll do the same thing for that big daisy head. And I could have, you know, if I was using different paper, this could be like a purple cone flower as well. Maybe not quite the center of the flower, but you could do purple and pink. So don't limit yourself to just yellow. I'm using yellow because my paper is yellow, and I'm just kind of rotating this until I think it's got, oh, I did a pretty good job on that one too. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself because sometimes you're just a little teeny tiny bit off. Okay, this is the easiest one. This is the center, and I'm using Pecan Pie. And if I didn't mention, I used Daffodil Delight on the flower head. And then I'm just doing like a little brown center. Oh, this kind of reminds me of the flowers we have this time of year in my hometown. They're called balsam arrowroots, and that it just kind of reminds me of the balsam arrowroot. Huh. Maybe that's why I was attracted to it. I have lots of fond memories growing up in British Columbia, and there's like that time of year, there's like that sweet smell, kind of a sagey smell in the air, and this looks like a balsam arrowroot. They're like big clumps of of flowers, and I believe they're native because they were there. They're all over the place. I think this time of year, April. They're very, very pretty. Big patches of clumps of yellow flowers. It just makes me very, very happy. Okay, I keep going on little asides. Okay, friends are flowers. Let's grab the skinny piece of cardstock. I think it's about 1 1/8 inch, 1 1/4 inches wide. I just had a piece of scrap paper and I just needed one wide enough for this one right here. So we need to stamp this. I'm going to stamp it in black. Okay, let's shove these aside for a moment. Okay. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. There's got to be some sort of deeper meaning behind here. Sometimes you have perennial flowers and sometimes you just have annual flowers. What does that all mean? I don't know. Okay, hopefully you have a lot of perennial flower friends in your life, is what I hope that means. Okay, so first of all, we can do one of two things. We can cut all the way around this and then cut this in half, but eventually we're going to cut this in half. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna cut this in half. And then I'm just going to take my paper snips and work my way around the flower. You kind of want to twist the paper and not the scissors. I think that's the way it works best. And this is totally a look for, you know, having that cutout look. A lot of times we do little labels, but I felt like I looked at this and I was like, you know what? There is no good way to get this long, skinny greeting on there in a happy manner. So I just decided I was going to cut it out. And I noticed on my original, I did a little dip up here. I'm gonna do a little dip up there. So that's gonna nest on right somewhere around there. And then we're going to grab this one and we're gonna happily just kind of cut around this one. I need to peek and see how I cut this one on the inside. No, it probably doesn't matter because that one doesn't have the flowers kind of coming around it, but let's just go ahead. This is easier. We could also have cut the stamp in half, and then we could have, for the inside one, we could have stamped it right on inside the card instead of gluing this little piece inside. But since I was already stamping this one, it just kind of made sense to just cut them both out, right? Okay, so for the outside, we're going to start off by gluing this down. And we'll just try and get it centered. To center something, it's easier to go up as high as you can and look down and then eyeball it. And with glue, you just have a little moment to kind of orient it. And I'm going to be kind of mindful. There is this grid pattern on here, so you want to make sure that it looks straight according to your pattern of paper. Okay, so there we go. And then we're going to add our little greeting. First of all, kind of figure out where you're going to put your greeting. I think it looks good right there. I did try and get ribbon on here, but I didn't like it, so I took it off. Not every card necessarily needs ribbon. And when you've got a lot going on, you can decide not to put ribbon on a card. Okay, squish, squish. See? It looks good just having that little greeting just hang off the side there. And then to finish off the card front, we're going to grab some iridescent basic pearls. And we'll grab this. I'm so reluctant to use my Take Your Pick tool, but I have to say, this little spatula end has saved me so many times now. I did not put this on my supply list, but it's called the Take Your Pick tool if you want one. This little guy and my heat tool. So I glued the inside first, and then I did the card front, and when you note, I must have flipped the card over, and so I had glued my either the front or the inside to the wrong side, and so I lifted up the front, or lifted up that layer by heating up the layer and using this little spatula layer to run underneath the glue and get it off. And I did such a good job that I didn't ruin the layer and I was able to keep using it. So this is really good. The one thing I have not been so good at using is this this putty thing, and it works well, but yet why do I always go back to my Take Your Pick tool? I think it's because it's because I used my piercer tool for so long that I have such a hard time switching. I'm such a creature of habit, right? But look how nice that putty worked with picking those jewels up. If you have like hard time with small little things, this could be a really good thing for you. And it does come with a cap, so we just cap it, and then I'm sticking it in my little toolbox. All right. Okay, so let's put this away. And I like these pearls. Some of them are kind of duller and some of them are shinier, so you can choose which ones you like. I have, these are carrying over, so once these are gone, I have a new pack. This one is just, it's almost done. I don't like it when I have like an almost done pack. It almost feels like I need to put 10 pearls on this card just to use them up. Let me show you how I did the inside. I've got a little piece of basic white 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Now the key with this is you want to glue down your greeting first, or keep your greeting there, right there on the card while you're stamping. You want to center this on the bottom of the layer, and then we're going to come back in with our ink and we're going to stamp 2 flowers. And I feel like on this one we needed to go a little bit over like this on this side. Okay, I am going to see, having this tool thing, it's just so nice because I'm always putting my tools away now compared to before when I wasn't. Okay, so really I just kind of need the top of this flower. You're gonna see what I'm gonna do. Oh, this is not the right card. This card here. This is what I want to do. So I haven't glued this down yet. What if I make a mistake? You can just kind of hover it right there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your flower and you're going to make sure you kind of get it close to the greeting. But we're going to leave space for the greeting, right? Because I don't want to... I tried this a few different times, and this was the best way to do it because I want this greeting to be in the garden. I don't want it hanging over here because it just doesn't quite make sense. Then once you write your own message, it might not resonate as well. So there was a reason I kind of scooted it into the Garden of Life. It is literally in a garden of balsam arrowroots. Yes, they are balsam arrowroot flowers. They are not daisies. They are my balsam arrowroots. Okay, so then I can just add that over here. Look at balsam arrowroots. Now, I bet you some of you are looking at balsam arrowroots. I hope some of you are. That's what I would do. When there's something that I haven't heard about before, that's what I do. I look it up. I am such a curious person. Okay, so now I can go ahead and add that. Of course, you would hope that my next part of the stamping works out as well too. You can wait till the end because I'm also going to color these flowers. Forgot to do that. Let's go ahead. Let's grab the yellow first since mostly it's yellow up at the top. So we're just going to kind of fit this in. I'm just looking at where my petals are. Keep twisting until I think, okay, that looks pretty good. And they smell, there's that smell that time of year. You know, you go home and I think smells are some of the most powerful memory tools. Like there's not something that we think about a lot, but they are just right there. And I'm not always, I didn't always go home at springtime. So it was like years sometimes between seeing these flowers. So they mean more to you as you grow older. Okay, I'm trying to be up really high to kind of see, does this line up? Okay. It's a little off, but that's okay. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Like I notice like sometimes with my linens and all of that, they do that on purpose. Or maybe they also have someone that made an off-center thing and then they say, oh, we meant for it to be off-center, but they didn't really mean to. That could be a thing too. All right, let's just finish off the centers real quick. So what would I use this card for? This could be a birthday card. This could be like a thinking of you card. There's lots of different ways to use this card. Well, sometimes it's just nice to have a generic card. And we're going to put glue on here. So this is what I did. I glued this down and it was the wrong way around. Or was this on this side afterwards? And I'm like, great. What am I going to do now? I had to actually pry it up with my heat tool and that little spatula. I'm going to take your pick tool. And there it is. I just think it's so sweet. So here is the outside and there's the inside. So it should be read like this. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. And then you still have plenty of room up here to write a message. If you need more room, just cut yourself another piece of basic white and then you can have more. If I did another piece of basic white, I would be kind of tempted to maybe put a flower in this corner up top here, just a flower head, just to kind of bring back the flower theme if you need more room. If you're if you're a writer and you love to write long messages that are meaningful, like my sister does, like she writes the most wonderful things in my cards, the cards that she gives me. And I am just not that person. I have a lot of thoughts in my head, but as soon as I go to write them down, they just evaporate. I don't know. I just have trouble getting those thoughts in my head. I maybe need to just speak them out loud while I'm thinking them and have a transcriber to get those words out, because as soon as I go to write, it's like, hi, so-and-so. And then, your brain just like erases. Everyone's brain is different. And we're all beautiful. Okay, so there is that. There is our sweet, sweet card. And I love the stamp set. And it does remind me of balsam arrowroots, but it could also just be a daisy or almost a cone flower. Maybe cone flowers have kind of more droopy florals, but use pink, use purple. For the flower heads, if you don't like yellow, I know yellow plays really nicely with blue backdrops too, so you could have a blue flower, although they're fewer and further between. So anyway, well, thank you all for being here. If you're not already a subscriber to my YouTube channel, I hope you will subscribe today. That really helps me get seen by other people. I appreciate that. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. It really helps me. It helps me and my small business, and I appreciate that because that allows me to continue to do what I do. I do have also an email list that will give you access to my project sheets that I have every week, and I don't do them for my Tuesday projects, but I do have written instructions on my blog for my Tuesday projects. But for my Friday projects, which are usually more complicated, I do have a project sheet for them, and it has a photo, instructions, it has a diagram usually. So that is what you will get on Saturday if you are on my email list. Okay, I always say hello to everyone at the end because, as you know, I get distracted enough on my own, and I want to say hello to all of you, but I also want to get through my card. So let's say hello to Valerie. Good morning. Hello to Mary. And oh, it was 30 degrees in Indiana this morning. Yeah, it wasn't too much warmer here. It was 2 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit, but Celsius here. So that would be in the 30 range as well. And it was drizzling. I walked inside this morning. So that was good. Hello, Janice. And whoa, 27 degrees in Michigan. Oh, wow. I hope that cold air is not moving towards me. I would rather not be that cold. Hopefully not. Hello, Sandy from San Antonio. Glad you're here this morning. Good morning, Kim from Edmonton. And oh, yeah. And at least it's not snowing, Kim, right? Just rain this morning. Hello. I don't know how to pronounce this. Vey Perez from Southern California. Good morning. Janine, I've got some team members here this morning. That is so nice. Hello, Marty from Pittsburgh. Hello, Kelly from Wisconsin. Hello, Tanya from Kentucky. And Lily from New York City. Oh, that's so cool. I always feel like people in New York City are too busy to paper craft. And I know I have stampers in New York City, but it just feels like that's a city that's just like on the go all the time. But I know there's all types of people, right? But that's so neat. Hello, Karen from chilly Florida. Now, Karen, how chilly could it be in Florida? Are we talking like 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or are we talking 30 degrees Fahrenheit? It can't be 30 degrees there. Hello, Mary. Linda says the designer series paper is so cheerful, especially the yellow gingham check. Yes, I do. I kind of am addicted to that pattern. Hello, Cindy. She's listening while driving around and running errands. Well, please pay attention to the road first and foremost. Don't get in an accident. Hello, Nancy. Linda says she used this designer series paper pack for her Easter cards. So perfect. It is. It is a really nice pack for Easter. And that is coming up very soon, right? We have just under 2 weeks till Easter. Let's just hello, Nola from Eugene, Oregon. And oh, her favorite grape hyacinths are springing up all over. I love bulbs. They're so happy. They pop up right when we need them in spring. Grape hyacinths are so cute. Nancy says, you're absolutely the best. Thank you for all you do for us. Well, thank you, Nancy, for saying that. I appreciate you too. Hello, Brenda. I love that your name is Brenda too. We have a little community of Brendas around. Nice to have you here. Hello, Kristen in Colorado. Hello, cutie puppies. Mary says, where are the, where are the magnetic sheets from? Oh, yes, I will tell you. So, our dies come in a little envelope. They do not come on these sheets. These magnetic sheets, I get them from Stamp and Storage, and they come in different sizes. Now, some of them, let me grab something. I'm going to walk over to my shelf. Let's grab something that I can show you. So some of them, I have bigger ones and smaller ones. I have sets that right now are standalones. They don't match up with anything. So I put these on bigger magnet cards because they come in different sizes. I'm gonna switch down this way for you for a second. Let me just pop the card over on the side here. And I'm just gonna measure the two sizes I use the most often. They kind of, on Stamp and Storage, they do kind of round up a bit. I will, after I get done with this video, I will post the link for you for the sizes I use most often, but I just wanna share with you so you can kind of see what they are. So this one, the actual measurement is 6 3/4 wide by 6 inches, 6 3/4 by 6. And I use these ones in my stand alone set. Right now, or I tend to like put the shape ones in here. So this is also a little box you can get from Stamp and Storage. They're angled. And I kind of keep the dies that I use a lot for different things. Sometimes I use a die with a different stamp set. So this is where I kind of keep the dies. Like maybe I want some hearts. These are where I keep my current dies that I will use on many different cards. Some of them are more like this one. I could have put it inside. This one's Unbounded Love. I could have put this one inside the stamp set case as well. Now, if you want to put them inside the stamp set case, I'm just going to pop this over here for a second. If you want to put them inside the stamp set case, here's an example. This is what I do for most of my die sets because most of them really match up most nicely with the stamp set they belong to. So for this one, it just lays inside my box. And this one is 4 7/8. They probably call it 5 inches by 6 3/4. The actual measurement though is 4 7/8 by 6 3/4. And this one will fit nicely inside this box, and that way you can keep your dies right with your stamp set, and this does not, they don't fall off. And I just label them on the back. If you have a label maker, go for it and use your label maker. I thought about getting a label maker, but I also really like the way I print, and I also have a lot of labels hanging around. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to write down. And I always write down, when I do that, I always write down how many dies are in the set. And this little yellow dot means it's an online exclusive. I need to, double check before I use it just in case it retires. Online exclusives can retire anytime throughout the year, and I think we have 6. Is it 6? I think every 2 months there's a potential for online exclusives to retire. So I just want to, when it's not a big retirement, I might forget to notice it. So I just like to mark this just so I know it's a more volatile product, so to speak. But anyway, label it, put the number of dies. I just put a circle around. The number of dies that there should be are on the envelope of the die set, and I think they're also, the numbers also listed in the catalog, whether it's online or in the printed catalog. And so then I just go ahead, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 dies. When I'm done with this, I always make sure I count how many dies and make sure they match up, because you don't want to go too long with having a missing die, because then you might lose it. So, and then I just will pop that right in there. And sometimes, you know, when I cut extra labels, so they go in there too. When I was doing my color charts, I had a bunch of these in a row, so I could still use these flowers. So I just keep them in there, like if I have any extra little pieces. That way when I go to design with this, I already have something that I can work with, and I just stick that in the case there as well. And then I just close up the case, and then I stick it on the shelf. So that was a very long explanation, but it's called Stampin' Storage. I'll put the link down below after my video is over. All right, okay. Back over to all of you. Hello, Marianne. I was just talking about you. I don't know if you were there when I was talking about how you convinced me to get, not that you said anything, you enabled me to get the You Are Remarkable stamp set, because I love the vertical greetings. They just made so much sense when I saw them on your card when we were doing those. I can never remember the name of that card. The bandstand pop-up cards we were doing at Team Stamping, and you used this on the back of a card, and I fell in love with it, and I bought that stamp set after that. It's all because of you, Marianne. All right. Cindy said she ordered her thick, basic white and regular early. You know, I actually didn't order right away, and you know why? It's because I always keep a substantial supply of white cardstock in stock. Like, I just am constantly buying it, so I always have a few packs with me. So I didn't go ahead, I didn't stock up, because I'm always kind of stocking up. So I did stock up on some colors, though. I did some cardstock inventory the other day, and because the prices are going up for cardstock, 8.5 by 11, I just went ahead and I bought some of my favorite colors in extra pack. Like, I use certain colors, like Granny Apple Green is one of my favorite colors. I use a lot of Pool Party. What else do I use? I'll use a lot of Fresh Freesia. There's certain colors that just you use more than others. So I just went through, and Old Olive, I went through and I picked up those colors that I use a lot of, and I just grabbed an extra pack of it. Yeah, just to have on hand. And that price increase goes into effect with a new catalog on May 5th. Now, if we do experience runs on colors, I'm sure they might, stop that from happening. Maybe not now, but right now their cardstock inventory seems to be pretty robust. So I'm happy about that. Okay, total aside, we're keeping on going. Hello, Linda. And there's another Linda, and she says, she has a garden of Gerber daisies in full bloom, every color, so pretty. Well, there you go. You could do these in any color you want. And Marianne says she loves that stamp set. It's so true, right? You convinced me to get it. Karen says she stocked up on her she also stocked up on the basic white and thick cardstock to avoid the price increase for a while. Yeah. Linda says she has all the same tools on the Take Your Pick tool, but use a push pen for the gems. Huh. Yeah, you know what? I have always used these. We no longer sell these. These are a paper purser, and we use this for so long. And I got so used to using it that, but the putty works really well. that putty end. I just need to get used to using it. Nancy says she looked up the balsam arrowroot flower. It is a pretty flower, you know, it's just, it occurs there naturally, so that's kind of fun. And so did Marty. Oh, you have some of the same curiosity as I do, right? Nancy said she misses her Michigan hollyhocks. Hollyhocks are such a pretty flower too. Kristen says her mind goes blank when it comes to write on the inside of the card. You know, I have all these great thoughts and then just blank when I go to write. Kelly says pretty card. Marian says beautiful card. Marty says she writes her message on scrap paper first, sometimes before I've even done the card. Otherwise, I forget what I wanted to say. Yeah, I probably could do that. I wish I wasn't so busy, so I would actually take the time to do that. Hello, Cindy. She says, beautiful, happy card. I love it. Thank you, Cindy. Hi, Elizabeth. I'm glad you're here with us this morning. Marty said she never liked yellow, but this paper is so beautiful. And she says she loves my card. You know, I have to admit, yellow is one of the colors I find hardest to work with. Especially a card like this with a lot of yellow, I often find it really, really hard to work with that much yellow. But today I didn't have a problem. I think it's because of the paper. That yellow paper is really, really pretty and nice. I think that's what changes it for me. Let's see. Jenna says, great idea, Marty, about writing down your greeting ahead of time when you think of it. Sandy says, love this card. Tanya says, oh, the balsam arrowroot is native to British Columbia. Oh, that's cool. I you know what? I don't remember that, but she loves plants, so she had to look it up. Yeah, it just grows there in spring, and it's so pretty. Maybe next week, if I remember, I have last year I was up in Canada in April. We were getting my mom's condo ready to sell, and every day I took walks, and there were these beautiful balsam arrowroots. Oh, maybe I'll put it in my blog post if I have time. I'll put it in my blog post so it will get sent out. But they were these beautiful balsam arrowroots. So I went and I sat among the balsam arrowroots and I took some photos because they were just so pretty. And I just wanted to have a photo with them, like a photo to remind me. Anyway, I'm going to not go down that path and get all teary-eyed. But anyway, yes, balsam arrowroots, good memories that make me cry. Yay. Okay. Karen says it was 90 degrees yesterday and 51 this morning. Well, okay, that's not so bad, Karen, if you're from the Boston area, but 90 degrees, wow, that is pretty hot. I am heading to Florida next month. Hopefully it won't be so hot, but of course I'm anticipating that it will be, but the incentive trip, the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip that people earned, and I was one of the earners, my husband and I are going down to Orlando for the incentive trip, and it will probably be very hot. If living in Tennessee was any experience, yes, it will probably be 90 degrees during the day. I'm already looking at my wardrobe thinking I am going to need to make some changes. When we moved up north here, I ditched a lot of my hot weather clothing because I just don't use it very much up here. So kind of similarly, when I moved down south, I had to get, clothing changeover. So anyway, yeah, 51 degrees would be cold if you were coming down from 90 degrees, but it's still pretty warm, Karen. You're still doing really well. And it's probably a nice relief from that 90 degrees. Marianne said she planted some Texas native plants yesterday. I love native plants. They are so much more hardy, and we just need to find the ones that are native, the ones that we think are pretty, and add them to our gardens. I'm just going through. Stamp and storage magnets are so good. Tanya agrees. Well, that's good that you think that too. I've been using them for years, and they are absolutely fine. They are sturdy enough, and they hold up really nicely. Hello, Carol, and don't apologize for being late. I was late getting started this morning too, so happy to have you here. And Marty also has the Stamp and Storage magnets. And she says the owners of Stamp and Storage are husband and wife. The wife was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and her husband made her storage for her products. That's how the company started. Yes, that's true. Marty says a lot of Stamp and Storage fits IKEA's Kallax storage system. That's also true. Janice says, do you mark the outside of your stamp set like on the spine if there are dies inside? I don't do that, Janice, but you know what? That would be really easy to do. Like, I mark my stamp sets that they're an online exclusive, and I just use these little dots that you can buy on Amazon. So these are my latest dots that I bought. I'm trying to look at the label. It looks like it's called Parlane. I don't even know what that is. But anyway, they have different colors of dots. So, you know, you could theoretically throw a little dot on there, and then that would, you know, decide whether or not, you know, there was a die inside. So I don't do that, but that would be a very easy thing to do, and it would help remind you that you do have dies inside. I tend to, so the only thing that's in my craft room is current stuff. So I'm dealing with less product. So it kind of depends what kind of stamper you are. I do this. I mean, I enjoy stamping. I was more of a hobbyist when I first started out, even though I was doing classes and stuff. But now I do this as a business. So I only demonstrate current product. If you are a hobbyist, if you're not intending on selling stuff that you get, you should probably put a little dot on your dies, or like make a little mark so that you know that there are dies hiding inside of there. So yeah, I think that is a really great idea. I would do that. I used to do a lot of things differently when my collection wasn't always changing over. But now I only have like a smaller collection, and I pretty much know if there's a die inside there. But I probably wouldn't know if I had a stamp set from 10 years ago if it had a matching die set inside. I'm not sure if I would remember that. So over time, with more products in your room, that is really a nice little handy tool to use. Okay, let's keep going. Nancy says, thanks for sharing your storage ideas. Helpful to keep your stuff organized, which can be difficult. Yes. Marty says, supposedly someone bought 70 packs of basic white to stock up. That would be 2,800 sheets of paper. So, you know, I think a lot of business demonstrators like myself, some of them make card kits. So, you know, in that case, it would be really, I think, a really great idea to stock up on so many sheets of cardstock. Or maybe you make things for events, or, you know, whatever you do. Then I would go ahead and buy lots while it was still on sale. But for me, I don't do card kits. So for me, I do go through cardstock. I'm going to be making 50 thank you cards very soon. And so I do go through cardstock, but not the same as making many card kits. That would take up a lot more. Jean says, such a happy card. Thank you. Cutie Puppy says, very beautiful. Thanks for sharing the inspiration. Lo says, such a lovely card. Balsam arrowroots. Hearts. Thank you. Nancy says, I color code sets by category, and if there's a die to match, I put a D in the color dot. Oh, that's cool. Joyce says, got in on the tail end today. We'll watch the replay. And she says, hi to all. Well, thank you for being here, Joyce. Janice, Marty says, in reply to Janice, that she has a label maker, and I put a label that says, with dies on the spine. That's a neat idea too. I love to color code because my brain sees the colors, so having a little dot reminder is really good, but everyone's brains work differently and everyone wants things displayed differently. So, you know, I know a lot of people love their label makers, so use it. Oh, and you could maybe your label maker prints different colors too. Then you could do like a certain color font, and that could also alert you to the dies. All right. Joyce says she has her dies in baskets and have Post-its, stamps only, and stamps and dies. That's another good way to do it. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning. If you make a card from today's sketch, don't forget to post it over on our Casing Facebook group. I will be going live on Friday with a 3D projects. Have not decided what I'm going to do yet, but we will see. I have to check to see if the things I want to use are in stock, and then I will design from there. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.